for summer vacation. Training at the next school, Fukuro. I'm gonna call this school Fukuro. Fukuro Academy. And they're facing, and right now Class A is facing the top in the class, the ace of the school. And they're getting destroyed. I forgot to say that they can't create clones of themselves. Christian can't do none of that, except Akane just does have super strength, because I'm just going to say that because I don't care. Let's just say it's normal strength. Alright, people? Not super strength. Because no one's going to have an extra power. It's just their powers and their blades. They're trying their best to beat her, and she's just using their things. But no one can even touch her. When they go for a strike, they dodge. She says, wow, you guys are pathetic. There's someone stronger than me, and if he's here too, y'all would be dead. Christian says, bring him out then. I mean, Adrian says, bring him out. Before he gets kicked into a wall, he goes, he says, dang it. He says, then, when Adrian's in the wall, then the number one in that entire school appears. He says, someone called for me? He says, I did. You and your ace friend can join in on the fight against us. He tries to, then his grip tightens. He goes, damn it. He goes, he says, luckily, I have a technique for you skilled people. He kicks his foot forward, then he goes, oh, and then falls to the ground. He says, he goes, and falls to the ground. He says, that's every person's weakness who is pretty smart. Everyone who's smart doesn't realize that because I forget about every other tactic. He says, he goes, ah. Then he pulls out his blade, and then it turns, and then it lights on fire. He goes, ah. Ah. Then rushes towards clashing with the Time Stopper. I'm gonna call her Sarah. Sarah. She's gonna be called Sarah, that's all. And then they clash with their swords going. He goes, ah. Then she goes for a stab. He puts his sword down, blocking it. He goes, and then they clash again, going, he says he's getting excited, saying that I'm clashing with an ace of a school. One of the best who's stronger than most of our third years. And goes and keeps on clashing, going. She says, time stop, slash. He dodges out of the way, and then he goes, blue fire, slash, and puts his sword up. She dodges as well. He goes, well, the rest of the class is fighting the other ace. He goes, king. Then Sarah, with more force, pushes her sword forward. He goes, then she goes for a stab again, and then he keeps on blocking it, going, he goes, he's panting really. He's on going, well, she's not even breaking, he hasn't even broke a sweat. He goes, but then with a secret technique, she hits his sword out of his hands. He goes, dang it. He says, if the sword hits the ground, the match is over. He jumps off her and snatches the sword. Well, actually, no. When he goes and tries to grab it, she appears in front of him, cutting his arm. He goes, damn it. Then he flaps a bandage, instantly going, and then jumps. He says, Then he rushes at her, and she rushes at him. Then he slides under, going, then snatching his sword back. He goes, then he goes, and they're having an ultimate battle. Finally, the whole class is starting, the Class A is starting to push back the real ace. Misaki goes, water dragon slash! A dragon appears from it going, ah! The dragon bites down, going, ah! Then, that was Misaki. Then Remy goes, lightning slash! lightning bolt slash, cutting right. Then the class goes for their combo attack. First one to go in is Misaki. Misaki goes, water dragon slash, cutting right through him, then the water dragon dealing additional damage. Then Alex going, lock. Then his blade turns yellow. He turns into a nice golden yellow. And says, energy beam, energy blade, and cuts through him. He goes, then holds his sword. Then Akane kicks him in the face. Remy would slash down again. Then Ikira would go, fire slash, and cut up. He goes. Then Daiki would go, grass power, nature slash, cutting him as well. Hiroshi would go, rainbow energy would appear around his sword. It goes, he goes, breaking his sword and then punching him in the gut. He goes, then Haruko goes, rock slash, and then with rocks appearing on her sword, slashes him. He goes, he goes, then Renko, actually not, Renko is no longer there. Nami goes, tsunami slash, shink. Nami, tsunami. Then Akane goes, dark matter slash. Then they finally all put their swords together. Then they go, ah! They jump in and slash, defeating them finally. The ace, while Christian is being destroyed by their ace. He's trying to regain his energy. Well, Adrian's trying to regain his energy. He goes. Then he's running away, like on the walls, trying to like jump off the walls and maybe stay on there. He goes. Then he hides somewhere. Let's just say they're outside as well. He hides behind a tree. He goes. But then he gets a sword aimed at his throat, saying, "You're done now. You're done now. Gotcha." He goes, "Shoot, this is my last option." He goes, "Am I though?" He says, "Fire beam slash." Out of nowhere, blue fire irradiates, going. Then she goes back, and he goes. He got a quick breather, so then he can fight back. She says, "I've only been using 5% on you, and how much have you gone?" He says, about 50%. He says, "I'll crank it up to 25. Rushes towards and kicks him straight into a tree. He goes, going through the trees. He says, "Now this hurts like hell." Then he hits, and then he grabs on the tree and then jumps on top of the tree, hiding in it. He goes, "There's nothing I can do." Then she slices down tons of trees with the one he's in. He falls. He goes, "Dang it." He said, Mr. Johnston's brother, Johnson, says, "Wow, Johnston, your student is getting destroyed by my ace, but he's lucky to be still up." He says, "Well, that's our top student in our class, Adrian. He can put up any kind of a fight. He's nice and will-hearted and strong." He goes, then he gets kicked, then the slashes keep on coming. He goes, then instead of her sword, she puts her sword in her case and starts to use punching, because it's much easier. He goes, he's blocking most of the hits. He says, "Dang it. There's nothing I can do. I'm gonna have to go full power. But if I do that, that means it's gonna show them my limits. What if I run out of energy quickly?" He says, "No time, gotta risk it." He goes, "Nah, nah, 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 You know, I need music for this. What? I need it. No, I want my phone. I'll give it back. Then he goes, ah. No. Breathing heavily, he goes, here. Yeah, Dad keeps on complaining. Hold on, give me a quick second so I can mute myself. Alright, so he goes going 100%. He goes fire swirls around his blade. He goes with a slice, hits her. She goes then with a punch goes then with a slice again goes then punches her back. He goes she says he's good. At 20%, I can't even land a hit on him. He goes, how about 50%? Increasing your time, stop, and freeze abilities. And with a blade, slices him. He goes, damn it, her power's gone up. She must have gone 50%. Then she punching his arm, and then it breaks. He goes, then he uses his sword with only one hand. He goes, sing, 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 sing. He's fighting like frickin' Sasuke out here against Kinshiki. Going, ha. He says, your student's good even with one hand. He goes, then she kicks him right in the other arm, breaking that one. He goes, now what are you gonna do? You don't have hands? He says, yeah, I don't. Then he kneels down on his knees and then picks up the sword by his mouth. He goes, I still got my mouth. He goes, slicing it left and right, going. Then when she goes for a punch, he spins his head around, cutting her in the face. She goes, he goes, then when he goes for another slice, he's kicked in the face. He goes, then she goes for another punch, hitting him in the nose. He goes, then blood comes out of it. He has a bloody nose. He goes, he says, no matter how long this goes on for, I will not give up. She says, he's really persistent. She goes and knocks down one of his legs. He's on one knee now. He goes, she says, just one more shot and he's done. She goes and kicks down his leg, saying, then he's on both of his knees. He goes with both his arms purple, because you know that's when you break your arms. Apparently to Deku, your arms turn purple. Then she says, one final shot, and blitzes over, kicking him straight in the stomach. He goes, then he gets knocked out. Then he's knocked out. He goes, ooh, and that's it for him. He goes, even at 100%, he didn't even get close to her at 50%. What? What? Ice water? Yeah. Yep. Dad, this is the last one. I'll make more. I'm gonna go make some. Alright, let's go. So, now the whole class has to go after her. They go, ah! The whole class tries to go for a combo attack, but it doesn't do anything. She goes 100% says, she goes 75% says, I am actually stronger. He's just stronger at 50%. I'm stronger at any other percentage. Well, then she goes, and beats the whole class easily until it's just her and Akane left. They start the class going, but with Sarah easily winning. Then she says, time to finish you, Akane. Then go for a giant slash, but then she's stabbed in the arm by someone. All she hears is, ah. It's Adrian who stabs her in the arm with a sword. He goes, ah. Then, now that it's in her arm, she tries to, using her arm to, like, whip him around with it. He still has his mouth on the sword going, ah. He goes, now it's done. He tries to lift up one of his broken arms and lifts it up. By holding on, he tries to use one of his legs to kick it up. He kicks his leg up to his face. Then he tries to move his hand a little bit. Then he tries to get his hand on the blade. He taps the blade, and then blue fire blazes out of it. It's not too strong, but it still blazes out. She goes, ah! He goes, ah! He says, I thought I broke your arm. He says, you didn't break my legs, though. He goes, Johnson's brother Johnson says, Johnston, how is he doing this? He says, I told you, he doesn't, I haven't told you this yet, but he doesn't give up. no matter how much he gets beaten up, he still doesn't give up. He goes, "Arr!" But then she kicks him in the stomach, and then he's fully knocked out. He goes, then she finishes off Akane with a slash. Then he says, then the apparent second ace says, good job. You beat them all. He says, geez, you didn't have to destroy that one. In her room. 9:15. And that's it for this episode of